Used to be around, been around for 50 years, but until recently, it was pretty much strictly a commercial product. Why? I'll be honest with you, first and foremost, it looked like hell. It looked like plastic. It had no visual, it was not a very nice product, but it is so tough that it is the type of product that you would want to use in large areas like retail stores, like hospitals, airports, that type of thing. And it's all over the place. But what happened about 10 years ago, a German company developed a new system, a new machine that allows to scan actual wood. And the way they make these products now is that basically I go to a warehouse, I look at pieces of wood and I say, yeah, I like that one. So they take a piece of wood, they put it down, and they have this huge scanning machine, and they scan the piece of wood. And then they put it into a computer program, and then they sort of mend the various boards with each other so that there's no more lines in between. And once they do this in an area that is 1.5 meters by 1 to 1.5 meters, then they have an image, absolutely beautiful floor, 100% reproduced from the natural tree. And they put this on the stick. Then they ship the stick to Taiwan, because in Taiwan you have the best printers in the world. And they take that reproduction of the real wood and they print it on a foil at the 1 to 1.5 meter wide by whatever, miles long. From there, quite often it goes to China, because China is the #1 country in terms of manufacturing of luxury vinyl tile today. Although this is about to change, because all the main manufacturers like Armstrong, Target, Mannington, Mongolian, they all went to China a few years ago and started buying luxury vinyl tile, because all of a sudden it got it looked so good that people started buying it for their own homes. So it created a huge market. And they all went there and bought from different companies in China. And the way they make it in China is very interesting. They buy the components from different suppliers all over China. And they put it in like 1 meter wide to 1.5 meter. It's like a slab like this, and they stack it. Because a luxury vinyl tile is a fairly complicated thing. So they put in the backing, the middle, blah, 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 and then a sheet metal to do the embossing, and then another one, and they stack it about this high. So you have quite a few sheets there. But what happens is that the one at the bottom gets put in a lot earlier than the one on the top. And then they press it down. And they leave it like that for about an hour and 10 minutes. And then they take it out and they process it into water to cool it and heat it, cool it, heat it. And then they cut it in the end, throw it in a box. There you go. You got your flooring. There's a bit of a problem with that. I visited 22 mills in China over the years. They all make it exactly the same way. A few do make some components themselves, but the vast majority of them buy the components on the open market. So if Mr. Wu doesn't have it today, they're going to buy it from Mr. Wong. If Mr. Wong doesn't have it, they'll buy it from Mr. Wu or whatever. So there is never consistency in quality with Chinese-made products, especially in the luxury vinyl tile. And all the big American distributors and manufacturers have found that out along with me. And they are now building 5 huge plants in the United States. IVC is building one, Shaw's building one, Armstrong's building one, Mannington's building one, and the other one is, 5 huge plants. So they're going to move their purchasing from China to the United States, where they can control the quality. They can control it for 2 reasons. A, they make all the components. And B, they make it in a continuous process. And that's what they use. That system was developed in Korea. And I had the pleasure to visit the Korean factory 7 years ago. And I was visiting a bunch of Chinese ones. And I bought from 3 Chinese ones over the years. and I regretted each and every one of them. I'm sorry to be so mean on China, but it's the truth. So in Korea, on the other hand, they make every single component that goes into the product, so they control the quality. Instead of having a bunch of little Chinese people putting little pieces together, hopefully right and square, it's done by machines from one end to the other, and at the end comes the finished product. Nobody touches it. There's people there in coveralls who watch on computers, they test it to make sure it's fine. Now, in our industry, we hope to have a claim ratio of 2 to 3%. That's the average in the flooring industry. Every 100 jobs we sell, 2 or 3 of them, we get a phone call. Now, maybe something we can fix just like that, or maybe a manufacturing defect. Some Chinese product in LVT, luxury vinyl tile, have up to 8% claim ratio. We are a small family company based in Vancouver. We have 4 salespeople across that cover all of Canada except the Maritimes at this point. If I have 8 out of 10 jobs where there's an issue, I'm going to have to fly all over Canada every single day. I cannot have it. And that's why we are buying the best product that we can get our hands on. Our claim ratio with our drop and down is 0.24 of 1%. It's unheard of. I've been 35 years in this business. I've never heard claim ratio of this so little. Little things happen every once in a while to manufacture the product. But I am happy to say that the quality of the Korean manufacturing is absolutely phenomenal. A lot of Americans are buying in Korea as well. Now, what makes, there's different types of luxury vinyl tiles. And most of they're defined by the way they're installed, basically. Traditionally, luxury vinyl tiles were 2mm thick, 2.5 millimeters, or 3 millimeters. So you had to glue it down with very aggressive adhesive, which meant that it's a professional job. Like, I wouldn't tell you, you go down, you go buy a glue down, you do the job yourself, it'll go great. No, it's something you want to leave to the professionals. You see luxury vinyl tile all over the place. If you go to Safeway, in the produce department, you see that they installed in most Safeways across Canada, part of the Safeways are done with luxury vinyl tiles. Why? Because VCT tile, which is what they use in the rest of it, is half the price, a third of the price. Why would they put luxury vinyl tile in produce department? Just take a look at it, you'll have the answer. I mean, it completely changes the overall feeling. Instead of being like a Walmart, all of a sudden it has that homey look and that like a market, you know, an outdoor market kind of a look. So it gives you that feeling of warmth. So yes, to this day, the glue down, I would say, is still the #1 selling luxury vinyl tile. Another system of installation that appeared about 6 years ago is a click system. Because most manufacturers thought, well, click works well with laminate, it works well with engineered wood. We should use click with luxury vinyl tile. It will seal the joint, and there's all kinds of great ideas that came out. And even I was impressed at the time, and that's when I went to China and bought some click system. And but in reality, when you look at the situation, it makes the thing a heck of a lot more difficult to install. Secondly, when you use a laminate with a click, you know, it's made out of high-density fiberboard. It's strong. So if something wants to move, it will hold it. Even if you have a bookshelf sitting at one end, it'll pull the whole thing. The vinyl is not wood. It does not have the tensile strength. So if there's movement in the subfloor, or if your planks themselves want to shrink or expand, that click's not going to hold it. So there's a lot of issues with separation in the click. And of course, it always happens right in the middle of the room. So when you need to fix that problem, you have to remove the baseboards, move all the furniture, unclick till you get to that point that's an issue, and hopefully you can put it back together and reinstall the whole thing. So the click, I was the first to import the click LVT in Canada, and I was the first to get out. because simply there's just too many installation issues. And if it's a Chinese one, there's a good chance that it's going to move, and there's going to be issues. So I want to stay out of it. There's another system that was developed about the same time, which uses two tapes. There's a bit of a section that overlaps, and then you sort of remove the little paper, and they stick together, which I thought at the time was a great idea. Again, it is a good installation system, but if you do not have the built-in stability in your product, there's no tape that will hold it together if it wants to separate. When it does, well, it's an issue. I'm not going to name it, but it's... no, I'm not going to name it. I don't want to get in trouble. You know where to buy it. But don't. There's a reason why it's so cheap. First of all, the wear layer is very thin, and that tape system, can't do it. And now there is a new, about the same time, I developed with a Korean manufacturer what we call a loose lay system, which means that the product is not glued, taped, or locked together in any way. All it is simply positioned, tied together across the room, tied on the other side, and that's that. And I'll show you. I will do an actual installation here. You will see how difficult it is to do. This is our Flexi Blank. We have two products. One is the drop and done. One is the Flexi Blank. Now, if you have a wall like this, very easy. You put it up against the wall. Here goes 2 square feet installed. Here goes another 2 square feet. I got to put it tight, make it look good. I got to stagger it so it looks good. Here goes another 2 square feet. Whoops. Now, the only thing you cannot do with this is install it over carpet. And what am I doing? I'm installing it over carpet. This is for a demo. You cannot do that, by the way. And there you go, another 2 square feet. Another 2. Another 2. There we go, we're doing all right here. We're just installed basically 16 square feet of drop and done. That's how difficult it is. Now, if you can drop boards like this, you can install that product. But obviously, you're going to have to cut it at some point. So, how are you going to cut it? Well, you're going to measure, say, the distance between here and the wall. Okay, so this is my distance. So I'm going to go like this. Use a square to make sure I do my cut straight. Then I'll use an X-Acto knife and score the face, crack it open, cut the back. I will always put my cut against the wall because the baseboard's going to cover it, because I'm not as good as the factory. It may not be perfectly straight. And that's all you have to do. If you don't have a wall to work up against, because sometimes the drywall doesn't go all the way down, then you will use two-sided tape. Simple as that. Now, this is a heavy commercial product that is used in hospitals, restaurants, stores. If you're doing a hospital, talk to me. I really want to talk to you. We just finished one in Montreal. But if you do a situation like that in a hospital or a doctor's office or in a pub where you're behind the counter where you know you're going to have a lot of water, then you would glue it. You would glue it with a pressure-sensitive adhesive, which is applied with a paint roller. You wait 15 minutes till you can touch it and not have any transfer, and then you put it in. We sell a lot of these products to property managers. Why? Let's say a tenant moves out by 11 o'clock in the morning. Their guys come in, they rip out the carpet. Usually is what is in there. Rip out the carpet, blah, 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 blah. 2.5 hours, they're out of the suite. There's no smell, there's no waiting time. All you have to do is simply move another tenant in there in the afternoon. They don't lose any rent because they have to redo the floor. So they absolutely love that product. And if they happen to have a tenant who's got some issues and he takes an axe to a board in the middle of the room, oh, where is my very high-tech tool? There it is. So if you do have to replace a board in the middle of the room, when it's a click, remember you have to remove the baseboard, you have to go clack, 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 clack. When drop and done, you use this very high-tech tool. You go like this, and you remove it. You put another one in. Now, if you kept a few, that's a good idea. If you have an accident 10, 15, 20 years down the road. But if you didn't, you play a sneaky game. You go under the bed, you grab one that nobody's ever walked on, and you put the Demi's one under the bed, and you put this one in the middle of the living room. So, very, very high tech. I think I've covered everything. Oh, a couple of other things. I was told, I'm from originally from Montreal, but I live in Vancouver. And our house is on solid rock in Vancouver, so you never have any issues. But I heard that here, you have a lot of movement. Houses apparently set different ways, depending on the year. The beauty of this product, very flexible. So if you do have a little bit of movement in your subfloor, it's not going to affect the product. If you do see that the little crack develops, you pull it from under the baseboard, reposition it, you're done, fixed. If it's ceramic tile, well, it's a different story. The tile will crack, the grout will come apart, very difficult thing to do. And I've heard that sometimes you get a little bit of water in your basements in the springtime. We do also in BC, by the way, sometimes. We have 93 inches of water that falls on our porch every year where I live. So it's not always perfect in BC, but we do get a lot of rain. The beauty of it is that if you do get a little bit of water in your basement, you will have installed your drop and done right down on the concrete. Again, you use your very high-tech tool. You lift the boards in the area where the water collected. You dry the subfloor, you dry the boards, you put them back in. You have laminate. I'm sorry, but it's floor removal all over again. So it's a very nice product for basements, for kitchens, bathrooms, for the whole house. And the beauty of it, especially if you live out of town where it's very expensive, very difficult to find a qualified installer. Absolutely any one of you here can install this product and end up with an end result that's going to be as good as, if not better than, a 20-year experience installed. That's why I love that product. We've had it now for 6.5 years, and it's going through the roof. Not only because it has a good quality and easy to install, but because it looks good. It doesn't matter what kind of technology we put on any flooring. If it doesn't look good, you're not going to buy it. That's why we're so picky about the color, the patterns, and so on. We're coming out with more and more every year. Any question on any subject? Yes?